And, you know, I had a few where I like bubbled out. I was 1 or 2 games away every single time. But then I just had to sit back and look at it in perspective and say, well, actually, my overall win rate in these qualifiers is extremely good. I just have to keep going, and eventually it'll happen. And then, you know, eventually I did qualify through to a Gfinity, and I'm sure that is the case for all of these other players as well that have extremely good win rates. What's up?
Casual brag.
Casual brag, yeah, why not?
Well, let's go into game number 1, Odemian versus Riku. And it is going to be Shaman versus Mage. And I miss Shaman mainly because I didn't get to say it once in the World
That's
Championship.
so true.
I actually did not say that word once, which is a crying shame for all the thousands of fans that
of the word Shaman.
of the word Shaman. But yeah, it's going to be the fast, obviously, secret mage from Riku. But what do you make of Shaman at the moment? Because very recently, because the patch was only out 2 days ago, there's been, I think, like, a lot of hype around Shaman so far. Early on, there's some of the bigger names have been playing it and saying it's got some great potential, just maybe needs some refinement.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I was talking to a couple of players here. I think Boston and Jackie Chan both said they were very close to bringing Shaman and then just kind of fell off at the last minute, didn't really think it was quite good enough. But again, you know, it's a deck that can still play Corridor Creeper for a start, because, you know, that can't be too bad if you can play a 0 mana 7-drop and then evolve it into an 8-drop afterwards, or even further if you get the chain going with Unstable. But for me, you know, I played it a little bit because this was kind of my reaction when the nerfs came out. I didn't really want to test, you know, Warlock or, you know, Dragon Combo Priest or, you know, the decks that were good beforehand and probably just got better. I was more interested in the Hunters and the Shamans and things that were under the radar before. Now, what's changed because of these nerfs? And for me, Shaman still actually felt quite underwhelming in the end of it. So I was surprised to see it here at all. I was surprised in my initial discussions when Jackie and Boston said, yeah, we were really close to bringing it. I couldn't quite believe it, but Odemian's gone a step further, and he's here with it in his lineup.
Yeah, and looking at Riku's Mage, this sort of floating spot of, you know, potion of polymorph, or whatever, is actually been used up by Hungry Crab for him, but which is going to be unfortunate in this matchup because they're outside of the Primal Fin Totem Murlocs. There is no Murloc Paladin, so and you couldn't have expected to play against Shaman, for example. So this would have been a tough opponent outside of that one chance he got for getting the Murloc off.
And I think,
crab off, should I say.
I think that's something that's worth talking about as well, because if there's one thing I've noticed on Ladder since the nerf, everyone has gone tech card crazy. Like, it's insane how many, like, Spellbreakers, Hungry Crabs, Eater of Secrets, like, all kinds of nonsense you're seeing people play. I don't think that's going to be a thing that lasts long term. I think that's just kind of a overreaction to people's predictions of what's going to be strong or what they've been seeing day one. But we're definitely seeing some of that bleed through into this tournament. There is quite a few off-the-wall tech cards that we're featuring. Hunter Ace in particular has a little spicy nugget in his lineup for 1 or 2 Dragon Priests.
Looking forward to those matches later on. But for now, Riku's actually got off to one of the starts you want, a Secret Mage. Get your minions down first is the overall plan. Get X damage in as much as possible with those, and then you follow up Fireball, Glyph, Frostbolt, Valets, kind of the go between minion pressure and damage. But yeah, this is looking pretty good for him, and Odemian doesn't have too much to do at the moment. He can coin out Saronite Chain Gang to try and slow this pressure down. He could devolve just to really slow it down.
Yeah.
But outside of that, none of the options feel great here. I guess coin Jade Lightning, but again, you leave either... All 3 are threats. The Kirin Torque, just because of the shape of the minion, the 4 attack is a problem. The Sorcerer's Apprentice, just because of the mana reduction, and then also the Mana Worm as well. Did go for the Devolve, and that's some good value, actually, for that Devolve.
Some high-quality minions off the Devolve, yeah. I think
you saw if the Wisp was a tiny thing. Oh, that would be so sick now.
You saw Odemian lean towards, it looked like coin Jade Lightning there for a second, and then switch back to the Devolve plan. Of course, coin is something that you want to hold on to in this matchup because you can hit Counterspell. I mean, this is where I know that you know that I know kind of gets a bit tricky, because he saw a secret not get played on the previous turn with the Kirin Tor Mage, so then your initial read is, well, they don't have Counterspell. And they could still have Counterspell because they know you have coin, and they're waiting for you to play the coin before they play their and so on. So I think, you know, keeping it in the end is probably a reasonable decision.
Yeah, I always fall under the side, at least as the mage, that like holding Counterspell for coin feels so counterproductive because your counterspell is way better than their coin a lot of the time. So if you hold onto your counterspell, you're just not playing a very good card that synergizes extremely well with your deck because they might play, because they have coin to proc it, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like you holding on to that is more of a detriment to the mage than it is to the opponent.
Well, I agree with you. I do, but I think against Shaman in particular, one of their spells is, the evolve type spells, both evolve and unstable evolution, are both just so key to the deck strategy that counterspell becomes an incredibly powerful card for you.
Yeah.
So to try and snipe specific things, and they don't have that many spells outside of that they can.
That's true.
evolve.
That's true. There's not a lot of throwaway sort of spells. The two valleys coming down for none of their battle cry value, but still, it's just more minions. And this is looking okay. Riku can just go Arcanologist into a secret now and just, just trade the board into it. Can actually keep the Granny Death Rattle as well if he wants to.
Yeah, you do kind of take a walk into Maelstrom Portal if you trade through this board instead of using a Frostbolt. Using the Frostbolt here and floating a mana is a little bit of extra protection against the Maelstrom Portal.
I guess it very much depends on the secret as well. Because
Yeah.
you could play counterspell,
Sure.
if you wanted to. And
Right.
yes, again, there is coin, but there has to be a breaking point for one of these players. I think, what's the punish for not using the Frostbolt? So it would be Maelstrom plus a weapon?
I mean, just Maelstrom and some minions suddenly makes a very nicely contested board state, right? In terms of what you clear up.
Just wondering how many minions you can put on. There's the one drop, of course. Sure. Just kind of going to go the halfway with the Frostbolt.
But I think you made a great point of it depends what the secret is because he drew Ice Block. He doesn't need Ice Block.
No, not
play
at
right
all,
now.
yeah.
He doesn't have.
Ping is better than Ice Block.
He doesn't have a Crystal Runner. He's at 30. Odemian has 0 pressure. This just makes sense. Like the Frostbolt, just to play around some removal options, is just much greater utility than having a completely useless secret in play right now.
It's a great corridor creeper turn.
It got nerfed by 3 attacks.
That was savage.
I still can't get over that. How do you get a card that wrong?
I think I could.
Okay,
I think I could.
I don't doubt that.
Ask me
actually.
to design
Now that
Hunter
I say it.
cards, and I would make some very strong ones.
Yeah. Whoops.
Okay.
Whoopsie.
Ordering. Yep, someone screenshot that face of Odemian, and that should be one of his emotes
Yep.
going forward. At least he's smiling about it. That's a positive. At least the mindset is in a happy place.
Minions go first, spells go afterwards. That is, since things got simplified, a pretty universal rule for Maelstrom Portal ordering. And Odemian just got it wrong.
Especially because he didn't get the spell damage totem, right? It's even more so, because if you got spell damage, the creeper's super cheap anyway. It's fine. But there goes the coin. It has been used, the fabled coin. So now counterspell is much more impactful going forward.
What to do? What to do?
So as Riku here, are you afraid of leaving the corridor creeper up because of a potential evolve ability?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. 100%.
Even just the one minion?
Well, it's not going to be just the one minion is the problem, right? It's going to be everything that Odemian plays that turn alongside the corridor.
In worst case, doppelgeist.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you just leave a 2/5 on the board that can just take out your 3/1 or your 2/2 or whatever, and then just evolve afterwards, you're asking for a bit of a beating. But the counter argument to that is, what does Riku's hand do here except hit Odemian in the face and just hope that he gets there?
Can't evolve and kill me if he's dead.
Right.
And we've seen I think Frostbolt, the only burn that we've seen all game,
Sounds right.
and the two valets to a certain extent.
Yeah, sure.
But there are so many spells left in the deck now. Even runes is good because a lot of the shaman minions are quite small health.
Is he playing Pyroblast, O Keeper of the deck list?
Yes,
Okay.
he is. We actually saw a thingy last the series I cast that was running Pyroblast and no Ice Block.
Oh, interesting. So
Yeah.
we've seen every combination.
variation.
Between, yeah, okay.
Well, I think this has to be an evolve turn.
We need a nice, juicy Tyrion.
Problem here is you can't check for counterspell.
Nope.
And conveniently, the Ice Block was drawn before the coin was used but not played, and then played after the coin was used.
That is a very good
when
point.
the mana was there.
Yeah.
So depending on how hard Odemian's been keeping track, this could be very, very scary as it evolve. To the extent that he isn't going for it. The taunts are enough for this turn at least, and that is a whiff. Not one of the burn spells Riku needs. But still, after seeing Maelstrom Portal, still an extra minion. You know, it's still two, potentially, if it gets through once. These, every point of damage is becoming a much larger percentage of Odemian's health that he's got left, only sitting at 11.
Yeah, and that is just 100% fear of counterspell from Odemian that turn. He could have just evolved and then played down the thing from below afterwards to have a much more powerful board state in that position. But, you know, he played a minion and explosive runes didn't go off. So at that point, even like statistically, it's two counterspell. It's two counterspell, one ice block, right? Not to mention the read that you brought up, which is a great point as well. Like your scales are tilted so heavily in terms of that being counterspell.
And you just lose.
Yeah, you just
like if you just lose if you go for it and miss. Nope. Double evolve, though.
Okay.
Now you can throw one away. But we can see, obviously, with it not being counterspell, that Odemian can assess the first evolution and see if he wants to go again.
This is some corridor creeper value, though.
I know.
It's taken
2 attacks enough.
2 minions down to a 2-1, and now it's going to turn into a fresh 8-drop, most likely.
How deep do you go into these like 1-drops in terms of the evolve? It's something that's discussed a lot, maybe too much of the Doomsayer fear.
Mm-hmm.
But with that second evolve, as soon as he goes for the first one, he'll know he can get rid of Doomsayer.
I mean, Doomsayer is sick for you here, right? Like, I mean, it's not sick, but it's totally fine. You get a Doomsayer. Absolutely fine.
That's really good, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just good.
Yeah, I think we chill.
Yeah, I am okay with a Lich King here. But this, I mean, Odemian's got a lot of work to do still in this game. There is no heal in the deck, outside of something that may come from an evolve.
Oh, baby.
Odemian's got too much work to do this game. Aluneth, not the lethal, but kind of it is, just not quite this turn.
Yeah, block in play, and he has how many cards left in his deck? 18, so 6 turns worth of draw, down to 5 by the time he draws 1 card each turn on top of that as well. He's not being anywhere close to pop next turn, even like with the anti-magic shell.
50 different damage spells left in his
exactly.
deck. There is 2 glyphs. There is 2 fireballs. 2 runes.
Oof.
Okay.
Well, that didn't help.
Ooh, this could be huge, actually. You can just 2-turn. Oh, 3-turning with Ice Block.
Yep.
Oh, God, Ice Block's so good.
So he has 13. It's 21 with Magic Shell. 20. Something's going on behind us. I don't know what. People are kicking off on foosball, I think. Where was I? 12, 13, 21 with Magic Shell, 25 with Flame Tongue, 27 with J-Claw. So even if he could have played it all, he wouldn't have got there. And the Mana Wraith is trolling him from being able to play it all in this position.
I wonder... Do you ever attack and evolve? Because the other minions suck, right? Outside of exactly the Lich King. I guess not. Well, they suck less now, of course.
Yeah. Anti-magic show. Make your minions suck less. That's pretty much what that card says.
Gul'dan. Make your hero suck
Make
more.
your heroes. Nice. Well, tell you one thing that's happening this turn.
Everything?
Odemian's getting pinged in the face.
Might ping his 1-1 to defend from a... Oh, wait, no. This could go wrong, though. He's got... it's almost impossible, right? 8 cards to draw.
So that ping means that Fireball is now enough. The runes that are in play means that Odemian can't really play any more minions. That's not particularly relevant because Odemian doesn't need to play any more minions.
Especially even with Frostmourne in hand, right?
Right. Crucially, though, the counterspell kind of messes with any evolve madness because Odemian could find a way to evolve into like an end-of-turn healing effect, for example.
And there aren't really that many spells that you can bait counterspell with, as you mentioned earlier,
Right.
that are cheap enough.
Okay. Whiff.
There's
Not a whiff, but not good enough at this point. Now having the Frostbolt, it does mean that his Firelands portals are live off the top as well. It's not just Fireball and Pyroblast anymore.
The turn that Odemian Maelstrom'd first, could he have got an additional minion out?
Yeah.
Could have already put the block.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Little things have the biggest impact.
And he wouldn't have had to coin the Creeper. So he could still
could have
potentially have a coin to
saved
deal
the
with
counterspell.
counterspell.
Which means he would have evolved a turn earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, butterfly effect. But maybe he wouldn't have got Lich King. Oh no.
And oh dear. Oh dear, Riku. Where is your burn, my friend?
That's so unlikely. He must have drawn nearly every minion in his deck.
Yeah. He has 2 Fireballs, 2 Firelands, and a Pyroblast in his bottom 10.
One Fireland.
Sorry, 1 Firelands. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. 1 Frostbolt. That's crazy. And the runes came too late to have an impact.
Yeah.
Again, if runes do like some damage, maybe with additional ping he could have got there. But that's not enough. And Odemian, I mean, I think his face sums it up more than mine. It's like,
Look across the desk. One of these players is slightly more amused by that game than the other. Can you spot the difference?
I think it's just compounded by what I mentioned earlier of Odemian messed up.
Yeah.
And it could have caused him the game
Yeah.
quite easily. And then the disbelief that Riku is like drawing 0 burn spells. He drew Frostbolt for the whole game, which is incredible. Glyphs. He had so many cards.
Yeah. And I think you like nailed the point as well. Like explosive runes didn't have an impact. Like his secret synergy never really happened. His secrets weren't buffing his mana worms. They weren't being played for free with Kirin Tors and lackeys. Like that stuff all happened just as vanilla minions. And then the secrets came out just later on just as vanilla secrets that didn't actually do anything. You know, that whole secret mage package never really went together.
And he still nearly got there.
Yeah.
That's how good the deck is at the moment. But speaking of decks, and we've hit the point in the matchup where we start to see things I imagine very few people thought we would see. There is Control Warrior.
Sorry, I've just noticed the names of Odemian's deck.
Okay, I'll describe this for the audience at home.
Okay.
So Odemian's decks on the deck list, they're in an order of Warlock, Priest, Warrior, and Shaman. And the names of them, the Warlock is called Stop, the Priest is called Bullying, the Warrior is called Garrosh, and the Shaman's called Anthrall.
Yep.
Stop Bullying, Garrosh, Anthrall. I think that's a plea to Blizzard. Maybe the design team.
Might well be.
But we are seeing Hunter versus Control Warrior. This is like a matchup of the old days.
It really is.
You used to keep high main just to get him, because it used to be such a painful warrior to remove, and now we're seeing it in the new age where there's a oh my god, the name I can't 100% remember of this card if I can find it. Dry Whisker Armor, yeah, which is kind of insane for armor actually, especially in because this Hunter is more of a mid-range, standard-ish Hunter list. It's not like the crazy Spell Hunter we've seen so far.
Yeah. And I will confess, I thought this card was going to be insane when it got printed. Like, you remember Cult Apothecary? You remember that card actually got played and it healed you for 2 for each minion your opponent had?
At first I was like, no, I don't remember
And
that card, actually.
it cost 5 and that card saw play? This thing cost 2?
Card saw playing Reno luck.
Yeah,
but
sure.
yes.
Yes,
the card
you are correct. I am being hyperbolic, but still. A 2/2 that can just do this on turn 2.
That's insane, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a 2/2 that gives you 6 armor is insane. Obviously, it's situational. But that's just a lot of damage that Riku needs to catch up on very quickly.
Yep.
And because this is mid-range Hunter, Riku doesn't... is playing the old Hunter style. If you don't get them quick enough, their armor will just beat you. There's not even Rexar to... I'm not saying Rexar would be a good choice, but there's not even Rexar to say, okay, I'm going to make stupidly large beasts that he can't deal with. Maybe they have untargetable, maybe they have stealth or charge. You can't do it. The Rexar isn't in the list. So Riku, although is carrying cards with like Tundra Rhino, 1 High Main, and 2 Hydras, does have some beef, but he's going to make it work quickly. His hand is looking good for that, though.
So what is... His top end was High Mains, Hydras...
And 2 Rhinos.
2 Rhinos, gotcha.
And then the rest is Howmaster down.
It's Howmasters all the way down. This, for me, like, even back in the day, you were talking about the, like, keep High Main so you can slam it on 6. Honestly, in my experience, Houndmaster on 4 was maybe even higher win rate than High Main on 6
yeah.
a lot of the time. That is kind of like a fake news statistic because, you know, to Houndmaster on 4, you've had a Beast Stick on 3, which is a sign that you were winning in the first place. But yeah, when this happened against Control Warrior back in the day, it was definitely a big sign that you were in control of the game.
Also, with Warrior not losing Fiery War Axe, but kind of losing Fiery War Axe. Yeah, it's actually a big deal because that was the best tool against Hunter early on.
Right. And I think actually that really changed the dynamic of once they lost Fiery War Axe, you didn't keep High Main anymore because now all of a sudden you could 1-2-3 them and just just beat the crap out of them that way. So.
I really like bow hero power here. I think pressing hero power every turn is good, especially when all your cards cost 3 mana on turn 5. And the bow front loads so much damage and stops you going wide on the board. Because there's a whirlwind effect coming with potential Sleep with the Fishes. Do you really want to just throw Bear Shark into that? Do you want to... Yeah, you might Animal Companion a Huffer, but that also still dies. You don't really want an empty board. Kill command.
Wow.
What? Okay.
He wants to protect the extra health on Houndmaster, so it requires a real card and not just a Whirlwind effect to finish it off after the Blood Razor comes down.
But is having just the Houndmaster on the board that great?
Yeah, if it hits him for 4 again, it is, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm with you. I liked Bow.
Just because Bow can actually just help you out in the following turn, get through a taunt as well. Whereas Kill Command, good job, but it's gone.
Yeah.
And that Whirlwind attack you don't want the Houndmaster to die to, well, there's so many Whirlwind attacks in the deck that, you know, maybe there's 2, maybe there's not, but then the one Whirlwind attack's happening anyway. Ghoul, Whirlwind, you know, like, there's a lot of cards that could have killed it off anyway, and now this is the problem where you're being faced with a minion on the Warriors side of the board, the weapon wasn't used, and now everything you play I feel is too slow.
Well, I think this might have been his reasoning, right? Like, this Ravaging Ghoul turn was what he was scared of, because then suddenly he'd have to come back into it. But even then, I mean, the argument you make of, like, front-loading the bow so it's there. Like, you're actually in a potentially better position if you go with bow.
And you still have a kill command.
Yeah.
One of the good ways to stop him gaining armor over a few turns is double kill command hero power to face. Kill him.
Odemian now pretty much just out of removal. And not a ton of armor gain in the hand right now that's immediately playable. Of course, he does have Scourge Lord when he gets to 8, but the second Dry Whisker is not looking as impressive as the first right now.
Also, the Scourge Lord, you actually remove so much, other than the weapon, of course, it's your hero powers do so well because you can't really armor up that well.
Right.
Although it does play a Bring It On, right? I'm guessing there's Bring It Ons.
Oh,
there's none? Okay. Well, the list normally run 1. But guess not. But it's actually not a bad card to run against Hunter, because by the time you probably need it, they have, what, 1 minion? Oh no, 1 minion's 2 mana less, like, whatever.
Hunter famously rather sparse when it comes to the world of drawing cards.
When I
The
saw,
shake of the head from Mr. Alexander Raven Bagley right now.
when I saw the arena cards, I was like, oh my god, this card is nuts. I think it was called, was it called Reload or something, the arena card that was suggested?
I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, so it was basically discard your hand,
And then draw a whole new...
draw 2 cards.
Draw
or
2
something,
cards.
yeah. And I was like, yes, yes, arena only. And then it wasn't even voted for.
Oh, he's so tilted right now.
Thunder Rhino. All this time, the bow's not been equipped. You might not even play Thunder Rhino this turn.
I do have to question why this bow hasn't been turned into 6 damage yet.
Because nothing fits now, right? Everything feels clunky.
Right.
Obviously, it's because he drew a 5-drop, but there are a lot of high-cost cards in the deck with double Rhino, double Hydra, high main. But, like, I think 5, 7, 8. Yeah, I think you bow Hero Power. If you bow Hero Power, you put them to 9. And then you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 13 with Hero Power, with Rhino Kill Command next turn. Oh, 10. What am I doing?
You have 10.
I can't add.
Yeah.
So you're actually 1 off.
Yeah.
If he presses armor up, which
Right.
you've got to imagine it is the minimum that will happen next turn.
So at that point, you need to draw more damage, of which there isn't actually a great deal of direct damage left, apart from Unleash the Hounds. But if Unleash the Hounds gets drawn and is viable, you're expecting Odemian to have played defensive minions, taunts, or dry risk or armor, or whatever else. So at that point, you kind of need the Rhino to stick and hit twice, right? So
This makes sense with the damage that was available. I mean, we can see though there's 2 taunts, shield block.
Yeah, this looks like we might have hit stabilization stations for Odemian. I think I've pronounced his name slightly differently every time I've said it at this
Oh, really? Yeah. I always say Odemian.
I said Odemian. I don't know.
None of us know. I do think, though, if the bow was used earlier, would there be enough damage? I'm going to go back and look at this game.
Yeah, it's hard to know because
Yeah.
the play diverts so much.
Yeah.
Because so he wouldn't have had to play Sleep with the Fishes on the previous turn. He would have just ghouled and armored up. So that's immediately -2 to your net damage because he didn't.
But he would have swung the weapon. To do that, he needed to swing the weapon.
He did swing the weapon in the real world, though. He still swung that weapon into a minion eventually.
Okay.
So yeah, it's very hard to crystallize what exactly happens in theory Craftland.
Misha not too bad. But the issue now is just how do you get past Tarlord? This was one of my things. When I joked a little bit earlier about double kill command, this happened relatively often as well. You needed the finisher and you needed to dodge taunts.
Yeah.
So like you needed that just like, even sometimes 8 damage with double normal kill command with no beast buff. Plus the hero power, of course.
Oh my god, this turn is
Oh,
absurd.
dry whisper. Sweet Jesus.
Nice little raptors.
Nice little raptors.
This turn must be accompanied with an emote. It is essential.
And game. Oh, the whirlwind is... Oh, only execute
Misplay.
is missing.
No.
Only execute is missing from this turn. Just to be like, and by Rhino.
Not emoting that turn is strictly a misplay.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Although Odemian did just laugh at Riku at the end of the previous game, so maybe he's like, okay, I pushed this too far.
That's fair. And yep, now suddenly you're doing miserable things with Hunter, which you don't want to be doing, which is using the last card in your hand, a kill command, to remove a 2/5 taunt.
Does get hit him with the Hydra. So there is hope.
Yeah.
On as far as Riku can see.
There is also a Tar Lord.
Yep. And then suddenly any minion that's drawn makes Garrosh hit into small attacks even better.
Yep.
If and when it gets to that point, it might concede. You know, Riku might concede before then. But
he needs...
that weapon gets very tricky. You can't even realistically play around that weapon.
Right. He needs Hydra number 2 or high main. Like right now. That's pretty much it.
Nope.
Nope.
Control Warrior taking a game. That looks things. Them dry whiskers. Pests.
And it's looked, you know, it's scrapped for this win as well, you know, which is perhaps even more impressive than it just, you know, drawing all of the whirlwinds and brawls and blowing them out. You know, it's really had to, Odemian's really had to piece together, you know, some creative turns and clears and stalling tactics and whatever. And
well, when he's not had time to play Acolyte and he's had the card in his hand all game, that's when you know there's something wrong, because yes, you want your card drawer as Control Warrior in this matchup. Oh, just play the Dead Man's Hand. Now, if I was Odemian, I'd be sitting and thinking, can I kill him with this Hydra? Just to really be flashy, you know, show off for the audience. I don't think Slam's a bad start, though. Because the game becomes very straightforward now. No Rexar, no kill commands.
Mm-hmm. One Unleash.
Yeah, there's factually only X amount of damage per turn that's possible.
Yep.
So,
and one Unleash, one Tundra Rhino, one Bow, right? That is all of the damage that can come out from hand.
So you can just mathematically be safe every single turn, no matter what.
Yeah.
It's going to go for the Last Scourge Lord. Take the 4, but deal 4 to the Hydra, which in addition deals 3 to Riku's face.
Give him the old boop for 1, and now that Whirlwind hero power means that this Hydra is a liability, and Riku might just even have to just throw it into the Tar Lord himself.
Even now, so what's about this weapon, it's not that common to play against, but it's awkward. You can't play Grandmother because you give him a 1/1 to hit the Hydra for 4. Like, it's if you don't trade the Hydra, and it's like you almost just can't play around the weapon. It's nuts.
Okay, just gonna pass. I was wondering whether we would see Slam hit the Hydra or whether we'd see him slam his own Acolyte at any point, just to maximize out on the card draw that way, but looks like he's gonna slam the Hydra.
Hero Power Executor.
What are you tutting at?
Always go for the Hero Power.
Well, so if he Hero Powers, he can't play the Elise then, right? So this is, you know, slightly more damage over a couple of turns.
Don't hit me with your logic, Sol. It just doesn't matter.
It doesn't. And with the first, we've seen some niche matchups so far in this like Shaman in the opener and now Hunter versus Warrior. This is a very, very different story from Priest versus Jade Druid versus Q Block that we watched for a very, very long time, back to back to back.
Yeah.
Sorry, versus Tempo Rogue. I apologize.
I was going to say the Triforce, but it's more like Rock, Paper, Scissors, Lizard, Spark.
Yeah.
At that point.
Oh, God, that's a horribly cringy reference.
Why?
It's just a bad show.
But it's a very relevant reference.
It's true. I'll give you that.
I'll take that. Can now even just draw with the Ghoul if he really wants to. Next turn. He has Hero Power this turn. Not that it really matters. There's just no way to get through this Tar Lord. Nope. And what's funny as well is, like, even if there was poison on the Grandmother, you just press Hero Power. Like, there was no way out there for Riku. Rough game for him, but a great game for Odemian as he takes the win with the Control Warrior. And now he's only got one more deck to take a win with.
Yeah, I mean, to see like such an unconventional lineup like this come out and just really rock it out of the gates, picking up a win with Shaman and a win with Garrosh. Maybe we do have to stop bullying Garrosh and Thrall because they are 1 for 1 each so far in this tournament.
Yeah, and what a difference a few nerfs make is kind of insane, right? Like, you cannot bring these decks to pre-nerf Hearthstone. Like, you will lose and this, like, again and again.
This is kind of the thing that's like interesting to me is like, you know, the second layer of what nerfs mean for things, right? Like, you know, Patches gets nerfed. Oh, well, Pirate decks are worse. Well, yeah, no duh. You know, like, you know, Corridor Creeper gets nerfed. Decks that played Corridor Creeper got worse.
Yeah,
you know, but like beyond that, it's like, well, Patches got nerfed, so now 1-mana 2/1s are more viable. Like Grimscale Chum is a better card because Patches doesn't trade into it. Like Raza is gone, so slow, grindy decks like Control Warrior suddenly become more viable because there isn't just this ultimate unbeatable win condition in the game that you can't really stop if you're playing a slow, grindy deck. Those are the things that I really think like these players have endeavored to find, right? Like just go that next level deeper and really figure out the implications of the nerfs on a more complex level.
And we're only a few days in. There were new decks being made before the nerfs.
Yeah.
Towards the end, never mind after the nerfs. It looks like Odemian's got one of my opening hands for Spiteful Priest, where you only run like 4 spells and you draw half of them. But what I will say is, in some matchups, it's really not the end of the world. But in this matchup, it's definitely not what you want to see.
Raven, is this matchup one of those matchups?
No, it's
okay,
not.
good.
But Warlock, like mind control against Warlock is nuts.
You think?
Oh, yeah. I think Spiteful Priest is one of the decks Warlock has a real problem with.
Oh, I think so too, but I think it's like because you can get your mind control off an 8-mana minion that makes it nutty. I think if you have to hardcast it, it's a little bit worse. I mean, sure, if they've hardcast a 9-mana Void Lord, then you hardcasting mind control is definitely strong, but you know, you're quite often dealing with it more around turn 6 or so.
I think it's the combination of your minions are often just that bit too big to get good Hellfires or Defiles off.
Sure.
And then on top of that, mind control. And you're like, come on.
Yeah, I understand the point you're making, which is at some point, you're going to have to mind control a Void Lord, one way or the other.
Exactly.
So, like, if that has to be from your hand, then fine.
And it's not so much even just taking a Void Lord, it's a silence effect. It's, you remove the taunt is the key, because you're a board-focused minion then.
Yeah. I mean, on that note, Odemian is playing a Cabal Songstealer, which I love. I think that's absolutely correct in this deck. Was before the nerfs, and I think nothing has really changed. It's a fantastic card. Saw some people, you know, even going as far as like 2 Grand Archivists and not playing a Songstealer, which is greedy when you don't...
too heavy, I think.
And quite heavy, yeah. And then Odemian's actually cut down to 1 Glimmer Root as well to make room for that Songstealer.
Sounds fine.
Yeah.
But in this matchup, it's all about how fast Riku can go. And if he gets beat on board as well, because already, as we've seen, the start your mage off board focus to push some damage, then finish them with spells is a problem when your opponent has a 3/8 Tar Creeper.
Yeah, I mean, Secret Mage without early minion pressure is not a deck. Okay, it doesn't beat anything, unless Asterisk Aluneth. Right? Like
I was going to say...
That's the only way you can get it done. Thankfully, Riku does have that fallback plan because he hasn't really got the early board rolling. It's kind of crazy, like, how often Spiteful Priest does manage to dominate the board despite not having any utility cards. You know, there's no Backstab, Potion of Madness, Shadow of Pain, like whatever it is that a class uses to break early board ties. This deck just doesn't have it because they can't. Like, they have to just play minions to make the sacrifice for Spiteful and Grand Archivist.
But you can see the choice in the minions. It's all about minions that compound on each other, right?
Yes.
If you have one, your second one is more powerful, then your third is way more powerful, and then so on and so on. And
check and mate.
That's a good card.
Yeah, so that pretty much covers the bases for Odemian. I said that if there's no early minion pressure, you need Aluneth to get back in, and now Acidic Swampooze has got that well and truly covered. And this Hungry Crab has looked pretty silly in this series, you've got to say. But I honestly don't think it's a bad read to expect, you know, 90% Murloc Paladin in this field, because I don't think we're far off that, to be perfectly honest. It's just unfortunate that you ran into this guy in your groups.
We've seen plenty of Murloc Paladin already today, but I do think as well, it's definitely all about, like, the layers of how deep you go with your lineup building for a tournament. Because as we mentioned, as we saw a lot of worlds, you know, everyone's going to bring Murloc Paladin, awesome. So you tech against it, but everyone knows everyone's going to bring Murloc Paladin. So was there a chance that a lot of people don't bring it then? So it does get interesting, but yeah, it is unfortunate just to run into the guy who brings Control Warrior, Spiteful Priest, and Shaman.
Yeah, there's 16 players in the tournament, 14 of them have Paladin, 10 of those are Murloc Paladin.
I would put in a Hungry Crab.
Yeah, Hungry Crab seems like a reasonable tech decision, but this is the problem with tech cards and why you have to be so careful not going tech card crazy. They're all awful in other matchups. They're just really, really bad cards.
Yeah, the only reason Ooze is here is because there's 2 matchups it's good in.
And it's a 2-mana 3/2, which is fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not actually that bad a card. Yeah. So, Raptor. Whereas there's no synergy. In Hunter, it's better. It's a beast.
Yeah. And
Druid.
Aggro
Druid,
yeah.
of course, yeah. Even in a pirate... not pirate deck. If you run it in a Murloc deck, you know when the Murloc Paladins were running crabs as well?
Right.
You can still get something. But yeah, this is looking rough. And suddenly, as you mentioned, without the Luneth, because of that tech card from Odemian, this is looking a bit much. Because it's not whether Riku can draw enough cards to kill Odemian. It's whether Odemian just kills him first.
I'm a fan of a good smug face. And Odemian has a pretty good smug face.
He's literally staring at Riku right now.
Yeah, I respect it.
I generally think Odemian's lineup is very good for this tournament. It's a bit out there.
It's
way out there.
It's
well built, I think.
Yeah.
As in decks and the cards within those decks.
It's so far out there, it's still back in France. He's travelled to Germany, his lineup's way long gone.
We do talk often that France has their own sort of mini region in Hearthstone.
Once upon a time.
Yep. God. Easy operative. And what a luxury this is when you're playing against Secret Mage, when you just don't care how much damage you take from explosive runes and can just play the small minion into it and make it a fundamentally useless card.
Could have played operative and took 0, but nope. I'll take that 3, thank you. And again, Odemian could have quite easily just stolen the attack on the Crystal Runner. You know, if he felt he needed to.
Yep.
But nope. Would rather have a Draconid operative instead. So as mentioned earlier, it's not about whether Riku can draw into lethal fast enough or at all. It's about whether Odemian just kills him first. This is such an aggressive opening, and you mentioned it earlier. This Spiteful deck often has a board that looks like this. Actually, it's not like there's been a particular god draw from Odemian outside of, say, the Ooze has been extremely good at the timing.
Right.
But look at this board without the Ooze. It's still a problem. Yeah, your opponent has more burn in hand probably because they've drawn more cards, but he's still not been touched by a minion. So it's like, sounds like a Madonna song.
Touched by a minion.
Yeah.
It's kind of nuts how consistently they are able to fight with early. Like when you actually look at the priest list, like, so Odemian's build in particular has 2 1-drops, and they are 1/3s. Then it has 5 2-drops, and 2 of those are 1/3s. That doesn't sound like a board that should be winning on turn 2 or turn 3, right? But like it just seems to happen.
Also, let's bear in mind, Odemian has played this game with -2 cards in his opening hand because he's had Free from Amber and Mind Control since the beginning. So he's played with -2 cards. And he's still got there. Or getting there, should I say. We already got stung today by calling the game too early.
It's true. So Counterspell to bust the Counterspell, which needed to be done at some point because he may need to cast that Free from Amber and or Mind Control. Like Mind Control as removal, possibly even, because he's still most likely going to have to get hit by some minions to lose this game. So if it comes down to Mind Controlling a minion just so he doesn't get hit by it, that is a play that he will probably make.
Also, Twilight Acolyte is a filthy card.
It is.
I used to love Giant Warlock. And then people started playing this card and stole my 8 attack. It's very mean of them.
Did you see the Orange series where he got the Bookworm combo off because he discovered Bookworm? He was literally like, he could have
I did.
Acolyte Bookwormed a Boogie monster, and he's like, nah, it's not good enough, I'll wait. And then just got like even better value out of it later. It's so disgusting.
It's not fair.
Baby rage.
I want my attack to be my attack. Stop it.
Why is my opponent playing cards?
He always has the best cards. Riku does have the Ice Block now, so there is that +1 turn that Ice Block gives you.
Yeah.
Is it enough? Probably not. Do you still go for it? Probably yes. Also feels weird against this deck that Counterspell technically sort of does nothing. Because these cards aren't there to be cast, right? The few spells in the deck are there to be spiteful summoned. Has won the board back for now. Before the Ordering lulls, he gains the card from the Operative so he can play the Twilight Drake anyway.
And he can't play the Operative after he plays the Twilight Drake. Yeah. So, yeah, this is just correct.
Someone said it in Twitch chat.
Oh, I mean, literally, no matter which order anyone plays any turn in, someone in Twitch chat says order lol. I like Odemian's response here, like, playing free from out. Like, he's actually going to get punished for it because their counterspell was in hand that now comes down. But the temptation is like, okay, great, I cleared the counterspell out. Now I can play my free from amber or whatever else and just go for that. But I prefer this response of just making 2 minions to contest 2 minions because it goes back to the point of Odemian realizes he has to get hit in the face by some minions to lose this game, and therefore, if he just, sure, you can cast Free from Amber and get an Obsidian statue, but, what if you don't? Yeah. And then suddenly one of these minions connects with you twice, and then Pyroblast into Fireball happen. Like, I don't know. Maybe there's a world that you lose the game.
Yeah. Throw glyphs in there and anything can happen. Glyph another ice block, stuff like that. But also what's good is there is no way that Arcanologist will ever trade or get the up trade, right? It's the Mana Worm, yes, it could, there could be another spell so it gets the trade off. But it's never going to happen, which means you guaranteed some kind of value trade going forward.
Excuse me, you are on fire. Job done.
It's making some headway now. Suddenly the health is even, which 2 turns ago you'd say just couldn't happen. Archivist spells get counterspelled, right?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, they dodge it? Okay. I guess not.
This one do.
I mean, it's probably the right play, even if it does. To be honest, it's an 8.
It's
a 4/7. Sorry.
It would be like a Yogg spell getting counterspelled, right?
Oh yeah.
It's just like a third party casting a spell that's not affected by the rest of the board.
Why is my opponent playing with a friend? Excuse me.
That's a whiff. And that is
that's probably the nail in the coffin.
That is the last point of damage that any minion does this game. So he is now in some serious trouble because his outs diminish quickly because Odemian can pull himself out by 2 every turn. So, yeah, he's at 17 right now, so Fireball ping into Pyroblast looks great. Well, no, I'm sorry, that's just not how
-2 off all of those spells.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially because you're drawing them one at a time. Time for evolved kobold tech, I think.
We have many secrets.
Guaranteed mind control off this Archivist now, so he gets to push damage, leave the 4/3 in play. It's going to get removed for him.
I tried this.
There you go.
And thins his deck by a card because it does actually cast the spell and it goes away.
Yeah. Which is
why
the reason why the mind control was guaranteed. Yeah.
I like to be thorough in the explanations.
do that hand motion again? Explain to the stream what hand motion it was.
Similar to the one you made at the Wild tournament with the tree.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that.
I'll never forget that, unfortunately. Decent pull from Violence, but I think it needed to be Doomguard. Push for the extra damage and hope for the Pyro.
Yep, 5 extra from a Doomguard or 6 extra from a Leroy would have been pretty nice right about now. Ding!
I tried this.
Oh!
It would have been enough.
Yeah. He had like a 1 in 40-ish of winning the game. Two outs from high 70s, low 80s of outcomes from that Violence board.
Yeah, Odemian gets it though. Another 3-0 today. I feel like we've had more than a couple. And Odemian there, taking it with his, like we said, a very out there lineup, to be completely honest. His Warlock deck, for example, maybe not as out there, but is still running like Doomsayers, Medivh, for example. So it's not even the most standard Warlock deck we've seen. But the Priest, Warrior, Shaman.
It's also in French. That's how wacky his Warlock deck is. All his other decks are in English, and the Warlock's just
that's true. It's like, oh, I'm not gonna get to play it, so it doesn't matter. The
Yeah,
casters don't need to read it. It's fine. But no, congratulations to Odemian as he takes that series. Very convincing fashion there.
Defenseur de Butt Pierre.
What did you say about my butt?
Stonehill defender, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Odemian. Talk again.
Hey, you hear me?
There we
Yeah,
go.
That's even better.
Congratulations on the win.
Thank
You looked very happy at the end of that first game to take it.
still-
Yes, we saw the cheeky glances across. How were you feeling at the end of that? Because that got very, very close.
I still don't know how I survived this.
Hey, you didn't draw spells.
It's insane. Like both our draws were like the worst possible thing both decks can do.
Right.
And I feel that game Shaman usually loses because it just has like combo-y cards that don't do much on their own. And yeah, I mean, I just managed to piece stuff together, and Lich King helped me quite a bit.
Lich King does some work.
Yeah.
How bad did you feel about the Emerald Hive Queen?
Oh yeah. Oh. Well, it would have been a much easier game if Emerald Hive Queen hadn't shown up. Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure there was plenty of ordering lulls in chat. Talk to me about your lineup overall, because your lineup's kind of crazy. I don't think many people expected, the Shaman, Control Warrior, Spiteful Priest lineup. What made you bring not so much the Spiteful Priest, but the Warrior and the Shaman?
Warrior is just a deck I'm super comfortable with. I have like a ton of games with the deck, and it's in the best spot it's been in probably since Justicar.
Sure.
So I know. I think I'm surprised that nobody else kind of brought it, but I don't know. It's just maybe not the players who like it. But yeah, I think the deck is like extremely good right now. And then Shaman is just more of a it's a meta call basically on aggro decks, and for my group at least it's pretty good. For the rest of the tournament it's meh, but for my group at least it's pretty good. And so yeah, I think that should work out. It worked out now, but I mean it was kind of touchy. But
I was saying during the series, like when Dry Whisker Armorer got released, I was like, that card's just nuts, right? Like surely. And that series, you saw it. Like the first one you played on turn 2, and then the second one on that turn where I can't believe you weren't spamming emotes. I think everyone should have been spamming emotes during that turn. But yeah, it just seems like a crazy card, right?
The card is incredibly strong. Like the rest of the archetype kind of struggles with you need to play a few bad cards, but like overall the deck just kind of pieces stuff well together, and you can play almost only anti-aggro stuff and still beat control because of Dead Man's Hand.
Right.
So I mean that just makes the deck fairly reliable and pretty solid overall.
And is it the lack of Raza Priest that makes that deck more viable now, or were you still playing it when Raza was around?
Actually, I think it was probably it was good against Raza Priest, but it was in a different version that made it not as good against tempo decks.
Gotcha.
So you needed to kind of tech it much more. Now it's just basically good against everything with a very simple build. So that makes it kind of better overall.
Cool. So yeah, you confident now that you did just mention that you're feeling good about your group, but are you confident about getting out your group still?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. I mean, Glazer's lineup probably crushes mine, but even if I lose, I don't know who I'm playing in winners bracket, but if I lose to Glazer in winners match, I still feel pretty good going through on the last match. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, it was awesome to watch the decks in the series. So congratulations again.
Thanks.
We'll be seeing you soon, but.